Hi, and welcome back to Heal with Trina. I'm Trina. Oh, loving yourself through. That's the theme. If you've watched my trailer on my channel, I touched on it a little bit, but I want to go deeper into it. And this is a space of really internalizing. So there's a lot of us, we read a book, we get some information. I read it, I got it, and we move on. And that's wonderful, except for that's a lot like reading a workout manual, being like, got it, okay, and moving on. And it's like, but did you do it? Oh, did you do it? Healing to me is a lifestyle. It's incorporating healthier habits, routines, self-guiding yourself, being aware, and really moving in an honest way towards what it is that you want and what would make you happy. And doing a lot of that self-discovery work. We live in a world that I feel like really, it's like, know who you are. And I know who I am, but I don't know. I'm uncovering and discovering myself. I find there's a whole personality and gifts and interests and things that I've got. And if I'm trying to fit in and decide who I am, then I'm really not feeling, sensing, and going, what is there? And getting curious about myself. And that to me is what's really cool. Like, if you look at a baby, why does a baby just laugh at, like, not all your jokes or not all the things you do, but you like throw a sock and like one kid will think it's hilarious and you can throw socks and they're just like, aha. That kid can have a sibling and you're like, I know the sock thing. You go and you throw the sock and they're just like, lost on me. Like what? And it's like, You go and hide and you poke up at them and they're like, that's hilarious. We're born with us, with our light, with our energy, with this built-in personality. It's like, I don't know why pizza is my favorite food or why pink is my favorite color. It's like, but I look at it and I get this, response where it's just like, I like that. That is good. Why do I like that person? Why do I find that attractive? You have those people who it's like, put me in the woods. And others who are like, no, the beach. The beach is just my zone, my happy place. Oh, it's so sandy. What is that? It's just like, it's just there, right? So I wanted to go into when we're loving ourselves. We talked a little bit about, I talked about how this is a channel of loving yourself through and a companion to being on a healing journey. And just a healing journey is self-realization, it's self-exploration, it's giving yourself the freedom to just open your mind and your heart and to wake up and to move differently and to challenge, not to anchor into this is who I am, this is what I like, this is what I know, these are what my triggers are, work around them. To me, it's ultimate freedom and going, what am I about? I have a whole lifetime. What do I feel called to do? What do I like? That terrifies me and it excites me, but I've always wanted to what? To me, all of those urges, desires, and like inklings, those are inspirations coming from spirit. And they're telling us something about ourselves. And I want to drop this notion of like, I was born into this family. These are, I'm a Peterson. Here's what we represent. Here's our values. Here's what my dad did. Here's what his dad did. And this is our way. And instead, what if we thought of it as like, we are these people who get to birth these souls into this world. And it's our job to give them variety and experiences and to help them to connect inwards to what they like. It's our job to help them to regulate and self-regulate and manage emotions and read emotions and understand the signals of the body and to respond to them. And this is a different notion entirely, because instead of I feel anger and frustration, and it's like, okay, let's explore that. Why? What color is it? Where do you feel it? Is there a story around it? If one of these young souls shows interest in something, instead of, I need to teach you to stick with it, we don't quit. It's like, what if we had a little bit more trust and like, hey, you gave it a shot. Why don't you like it? Help these young ones interpret and understand, what is my inner world? What is myself? I feel like one of the big things that I see in my work, I see this disconnection between the like human and spirit, between our soul. I see a lot of us in our human conditioning being born and taught, this is the world, this is the ways you be successful in this world, this is how we show up, and a lot of repeated patterns being handed and passed down from I don't know how long back, just like this has been our thing. Okay? And that's one way of doing things. I'm also seeing suicide rates higher than ever before, and people feeling more discontentment and more inner conflict despite having the things that should make you happy. I see more people lost and confused, and they're like truly perplexed. Like they don't feel safe in themselves, but they're trying to. And the way that they're trying to is by denying who they are at their core, because they look around, they don't see a lot of people at their core showing up and expressing themselves, and we don't really celebrate that. And it's very easy to like, well, the world's in disarray, let's throw up our hands. Like, no, I don't think it's that, well, I don't think it's that far off from correcting. I don't. Because I was somebody who had felt that disarray in herself and was about as disconnected as you could possibly be, and found connection and love and safety and acceptance, and went the road of self-discovery and uncovery, not deciding, but really allowing connection of body, mind, spirit, soul. And it seems like it would be a grueling process, and it gets intense, no doubt. It's the deep work, it's the soul work, but also, aren't you curious? So my work is helping people really alignment in those words. We hear all these hype words. It's helping people feel safe to really look inside of themselves and what they're feeling. And a lot of times we don't do that because we don't know how to feel safe with our emotions. We don't know what we're supposed to do. we were taught to turn the other cheek, or to go to our rooms until you can put a smile on your face, or, to not be rude. And so emotions come up in it, and instead of unpacking them and welcoming them as a part of our being, instead it's like, oh, this emotion came up, like, kick it away. No. Mentally, we'll have these thoughts, and it's like they're intrusive and they don't make sense, and like, and it's like, take a pill, take that pill. And it's like, shh, don't think that way. That's weird. Why are you doing that? Why are you making things harder? Why are you? And it's just like, all right. And we're met with judgment. We feel or we sense things. We're sensitive. And we try to convey that at some point in time in our lives, maybe when we're a child, but we don't really have the words to. And it just is like, oh my gosh, you're just so much. And it's like, I don't know how to explain that I know what I know, but I can feel things. I can feel responsible for people's emotions, and I feel like everything's so loud and so heavy, and it's not right on this earth, but I don't know how it's supposed to be, and nobody's really talking about this, so I'm just going to shove it down and repress it, thinking that we have like this endless capacity to just shove things in. And we see this rise in all of these areas in our world and go, what is the problem? Connection. Our connection with ourselves is what's being strained. And it's easy to say, it's technology. It's all these big things outside of us. A little bit, yeah, but you can also use technology to connect, to do what we're doing right here, to pick up the phone. You can also use anything for one way or the other. But the way that I see it is, this is something that probably technology. We got things going a little bit faster. But more and more emphasis is being placed on external things and less on internal well-being. Nobody's really talking about this. And if you are talking about this, there's this negative connotation that you need to be in therapy. And like, oof, what's wrong with you? And it's like, we all, like, just because we don't talk about emotions doesn't mean we don't all have them. Just because we don't, like, mental health, just because we don't discuss every fleeting thought publicly doesn't mean we're not all doing the similar things. Otherwise, why would, like, comedians, we'd go to a show and, like, we all laugh. We all get it. Because we're all pretty similar, right? We don't need to, like, oh, no, this is how I experienced that. No, me over here, I'm not like you guys. And one of the things that I saw being a healer and seeing everyone behind closed doors in the safety of my office, of my healing space, was there was so much shame. There's so much shame around each of us individually, thinking we're the only ones going through it. And, like, in reality, that is so not true. Everyone that comes in tells me a version of a very similar story. And that story is their life. But because we don't see these places where people are airing their dirty laundry, and because we don't know how to place it and to hold space for it and to do these things in a healthy way, we just don't do them at all. Or we take our feelings and emotions out on each other, and we blame each other, and we get entangled with each other, and it all just becomes a big mess. And it's like, why try anyway? So, this is my solution to that. And this is a space for us to learn to face and confront our emotions. This is a space for us to feel safe having them. This is a space to really go inwards and go, who am I? What am I about? Not that you have to go and quest. You're not out there, you're in here. But what does it look like? Presenting this information, people connect to it, and my clients and on podcasts, and when I'm invited into these very public spaces. And it's really interesting to me because people will be like, yes, yes, yes. And then they're like, so how do you do that? And I thought, going back to the beginning of this video, so many of us can connect to it. We connect to, I want to have this better feeling. Yes, I know these things, but we are not internalizing them. So a lot of times it is all those basic things. Love yourself, receive yourself, give yourself grace. Go within. You have the answers. All of the hashtags, right? They are the answers, guys. They are. It's quite simple. Not easy, but it's simple. But like reading a manual at the gym and being like, I don't need to work out now because that's how you do a bench press. It's like, you're not going to get the benefits until you live it. So we're going to discuss things. We're going to talk about what it looks like to live things. And connection is at the heart of it. Trauma, when I asked myself, overcoming and healing complex PTSD, what is the lesson? What was the lesson of that? I wanted to know. I asked my intuition. And what I got was connection. Trauma, grief, loss, these big things that shake us, they expose the level of connection that we have with ourselves. And if we have a deep connection with ourselves, and if we've got roots, kind of like a storm in a tree, big storm might come, and if we've got that inner connection, then it's like, whew, we're okay. We'll lose some branches, but we're here. We're solid. But man, when you go through those things and you become painstakingly aware of the fact that you have no roots very quickly, because it's like that happens and all of a sudden it's like, where am I? It's like, I didn't have roots. I didn't even know I needed to have roots. I thought I was connected. I'm here. I'm alive. But it's like, whew, I feel like there are pieces of me just blowing in the wind, and you're not far off. And so connection, we usually don't notice that in ourselves that much until we find ourselves rocked to our core, or really trying to reach for something extraordinary and going beyond our limits. And you are the person, you're expanding, and your limits are what you're pushing past. So if you don't have connection to yourself and awareness, how are you going to push past subconscious beliefs and emotional barriers and limits? And so usually either people are trying to expand, and it's like, I don't have that knowledge and awareness of me and who I am in order to sustain that truly. Or we go through that hard thing and then it's like, I don't even know who I am anymore. And it's like, I got to get back to me. Connection. So going through trauma, I realized connection is what makes us feel safe in this world. It feels like home. It's where we get confidence from. It's where we move from. It's our power. Being connected to our emotions, our body, spiritual inspiration and insight, moving and flowing with our personality, knowing what stuff is ours and what stuff isn't, understanding our intuition and being empathic and sensitive and those gifts and like, ooh, and bringing them all together. Yummy, it's me. And it's like, this is where I reside. And this is how I move. And it's wonderful. But a lack of connection is what most people are living from. And it's, I don't know what I want. What they have is pretty good. I want that. Is my body good? This is what their bodies look like. I need to be what that is. I need to go, where they are, they're cool. And it's like we kind of find ourselves living a more shallow life. And it's like, nah, this is what I'm seeing around me. And it's like, but that's not, just because you're seeing it around you and just because it's acceptable does not mean that's what you want and that's what calls to you. And that's where there's these people who I see who are in a job and doing everything right, technically, but they're like, Trina, I've never been less happy. And I don't get it. Because I have the money, I have the career, I have the family. And it's like, but if you're not connected to who you are, how do you know that you're doing what you really love? Or what is fulfilling to you? You don't. So Heal with Trina is going to cover all of these many facets. And we are kicking it off with this episode where we just get to look at things differently. And when I started to see things this way, a lot of things started to just logically make sense. Like, why, if you aren't doing what you love, like we expect ourselves to wake up in the morning and to love our lives and to just be a commercial. But if you're like waking up and you're not doing things that satisfy you or feel good to you, and you're not speaking kindly to yourself, and you have a real negative inner dialogue, and you're pretty pessimistic about the world because you've gone through some really bad experiences, and so it kind of darkened your lens, understandably, man, so understandably. And then you feel like you need to carry on the tradition of doing the family business, even though that's not what you ever wanted to do, but it's like, it's what you do. It kind of makes sense to me that you're depressed. Because logically, you're not doing anything you like. And you're not feeling like you do things that feel good to help you feel good. And so it's a mismanagement of yourself. And that's not hard to fix. But like, we have to identify, oh my gosh, I think I'm mismanaging myself. And I'm being hard on myself. And I'm beating myself up. And I'm sitting here saying that the world is doing it to me. That I'm the one that's perpetuating it, because this is where my nervous system feels the safest, is in this known state of dysregulation, because that's what I experienced when I was a child. And that's when my subconscious was formed. All this stuff, guys, it's so juicy. And it's going to take some talking about it and being in this space and having patience and really letting yourself have an open mind and an open heart. But if you're questing, and if you are on a healing journey, or you are awakening, or you have gone through something difficult and your world is being blown open, then all these things are probably hitting home just fine. And we'll get into it. So, welcome. This is what to expect-ish. Actually, no, I can't say that. But welcome, I'm glad you're here. And it's going to be a little bit of different things every day, but we're going to be talking these things: connection, self-discovery, being ourselves, really filling up your cup, what that looks like on a daily basis. I will have paid courses and things to really, if you are looking for somebody who can like walk you through and hold you in that space and like, okay, this is what it means, and like really spell it out for you and clearly give you the steps. That'll be available too. So stay tuned. And yes, I also have one-on-one packages and custom healing packages. If it's just like, okay, you're speaking my language, I don't know what I need, but I want you to help me through it. Hell yes, happy to. Go to my website and we'll figure it out. Okay, talk to you soon.